If you're a Reiki practitioner, you know there's the traditional Usui Reiki. Then there are other systems such as Gendai Reiki, there's Shambhala Reiki, there's also Karuna Reiki, and there are many other systems. But the most, let's say natural transition after Usui Reiki, at least from my experience, the one that I've seen most practitioners take on is Karuna Reiki, or sometimes Holy Fire Reiki, which incorporates the elements from Karuna Reiki. So why is that? And how does Karuna Reiki differentiate from Usui Reiki? Hi, I'm Vlad from ReikiSchool.com, and in this video we're going to talk about the differences between Usui Reiki and Karuna Reiki and why you should take into account practicing, or becoming attuned and practicing Karuna Reiki. Before we start, consider giving a thumbs up, like, and subscribe and share so that other Reiki enthusiasts can find content such as this one. With that being said, let's move on. So there are quite a few differences between Reiki systems. Now, I'm not going to focus on all of them, but I think that three key differences stand out when it comes to Usui Reiki and Karuna Reiki. First, let's get something out of the way. Don't get me wrong. No system is better than the other, the same as no symbol is from Reiki, no sacred symbol is better than the other. Not being attuned to Karuna Reiki and only being attuned to Usui Reiki doesn't mean that you're missing out necessarily on something. And also having 10 Reiki systems under your belt as attunements, but without knowing exactly how the practice goes, the differences and the elements and the methods is also really not that useful. So my first point is that you should learn a Reiki system if you're a Reiki enthusiast and you want to advance in your practice and you want to engage in the healing methods and techniques. Learn a Reiki system and, integrate the elements and the methods that it contains. With that being said, there are Reiki systems which have different vibrations. And by that, I mean that they access different manifestations within the spectrum of the universal life force energy. So through Reiki, generally speaking, we all have access to universal life force energy because we exist. It's divine energy. Our soul is connected to divine energy. Our inner self is connected to divine energy. Our entire structure is connected to divine energy. So we are channeling universal life force energy. With Reiki, you have a considerably more abundant flow of that energy, and you're able to learn how to guide it through receiving the attunements, through receiving access to the symbols, to the methods, to the healing techniques. You are able to channel that universal energy for certain benefits or for certain goals, like the distance healing method from Usui Reiki. That's one method that's meant to channel universal energy towards certain specific goals or aims at certain, targets, aims towards a certain outcome. So the thing is that each Reiki system and each symbol from that system, and I would dare say each method, accesses a different manifestation of the universal life force energy within the spectrum of the universal life force energy. So it happens with Usui Reiki and Karuna Reiki. While Usui Reiki is addressing a more down-to-earth element like cleansing, detoxifying from a physical and emotional and mental perspective, Karuna Reiki goes a little bit a step up, meaning that, as I said, it does access a higher vibration. It does have, the system itself contains a higher vibration, meaning that you are tapping into a different frequency, and that frequency is offered by not only just the symbols, but the methods within that system. Karuna Reiki was channeled in the late 90s, correct me if I'm wrong, by William E. Rand. He was not alone when he channeled all the system and all the elements and all the symbols. But the main difference, of course, and everybody's interested in symbols, the main difference, yes, indeed, are the symbols. One of the main three differences are the symbols. Compared to Usui Reiki, this one connects to divine entities such as archangels and other types of entities within the divine spectrum. Take, for example, Shanti. The Shanti symbol accesses divine entities of peace and harmony. Gnosa accesses the divine entities and energies and informations of wisdom and knowledge. Zonar gives access to Archangel Gabriel and has a deep healing and cleansing effect on a cellular level for trauma that has been stored at the cellular level, at the DNA level, and Zonar helps remove the energy and information from that deep level. So the symbols address a deeper healing, and it's those symbols that kind of dictate the idea that Karuna Reiki, the Karuna Reiki system, is meant for not only just healing, but a little bit ascension. And when I say ascension, I mean spiritual ascension in a sense of connecting to a higher level of consciousness, higher level of divine consciousness. All practices, spiritual practices and Reiki systems do that, but they do it to some extent. Again, it's not like one is better or worse than the other. They just access different manifestations. And while you can be extremely well proficient in Usui Reiki and you can go to levels that maybe other practitioners have not reached because they don't practice and they don't engage with all the elements within it, even so, there's a level that you can reach. You can do so much, as they say. With Karuna, you go a step further. Again, doesn't make it better. It's just another element, another addition to your practice so that you can learn more and evolve. But it also matters what are you going to do with Karuna Reiki, because if you're going to leave it there and not use it, well, it's nice that you have access to it, but again, I give this example. It's like having a nice sports car in your garage, but not driving it ever. So, symbols. They are meant not only for deeper healing, but for connecting to certain divine entities that obviously help in the healing process, bring a certain energy and information into your home, into your life, even into your body. And you can use those symbols in conjunction with the Usui Reiki symbols. And that would be another difference, which is not exactly a difference, but a synergy that you can use Karuna Reiki similar to Usui Reiki, but here we have a wider spectrum of, again, methods, healing energies and informations and connecting to other entities. You can use Karuna Reiki in almost any other system, and it blends very well with Usui Reiki. Again, this is not exactly a difference, but considering the healing elements that Karuna Reiki offers, they can complement each other quite well. Take, for example, as I mentioned, the distance healing method from Usui Reiki. You have the Chokurei Seiheki Honsha Shonen when you activate your palms and you create the bridge towards, let's say, you're sending to a friend of yours that's in need for light, for universal energy. You can also add Zonar, you can also add Halu, you can also add Shanti, you can add Gnosa. You can add all the Reiki symbols from Karuna Reiki, and that energy, what's going to happen to it is going to have a different vibration. And it's going to have a different layout, and it's going to have a different effect. Obviously a beneficial one, but a high vibrational one, a different one towards a certain purpose. So according to maybe your friend's needs that you're sending universal energy, or your goals needs, you can adapt and tap into the symbols that you need because they offer their unique energy and information access, so that you can use distance healing energy from Usui Reiki together with the elements, the symbols from Karuna Reiki. Before we continue, I want to drop a quick reminder for those of you struggling to remember Reiki symbols during sessions. I know how frustrating it is to feel unsure, hesitate, and even second guess yourself instead of focusing on universal life force energy flow. I used to do the same in my early days. I would stop mid-session, scraping the bottom of my mind for symbols' meaning. Of course, I would rarely find clarity in the clutter of information. That's when I started organizing everything on paper, keeping my notes close during practice. Over time, the habit evolved into the Ultimate Reiki Symbols Guide, a practical resource with the attributes and uses of 65 Reiki symbols. It's still the guide I return to when I need insights, inspiration, and the optimum Reiki symbol for a certain situation. So, if you're tired of forgetting Reiki symbols during sessions and want to integrate them in your practice step by step, grab the digital copy on Reiki Scoop or the physical book on Amazon. Now, let's return to the video. Now, a third aspect is the fact that system itself, as I mentioned, has a high vibration. But that doesn't say much, does it? the thing is, when you practice Karuna Reiki and use the symbols, and there are a few cleansing and healing methods there, such as shadow meditation, at least that's the way I learned it, that's when you know that you're gonna go into a deeper healing level. So the whole system itself, as I said, has a higher vibration. So that's one of the main differences. It addresses removing negative energies that are stored within your energy fields. Usui Reiki does that, again, to some extent, because Karuna Reiki, as I said, has all the symbols that address a different spectrum of universal life force energy. You have meditations that help you balance, recalibrate your structures, your psychic structures, your mind, your soul, your inner self. You have stimulation of the Kundalini energy, which is the vital energy of your body, of your inner self. So we have a few elements that not only elevate your practice, they offer the possibility of connecting to a higher level of consciousness. And because of those things combined, using certain methods, certain symbols, certain techniques, combining Karuna Reiki and Usui Reiki or other Reiki systems, but I'm just going to stick to those for now. That's when you go and dissolve projections, informations, programs, even magic, dark magic can be dissolved easier with Karuna Reiki because of the system, it's the system, the way it's laid out and the vibration that it offers. And using symbols like Zonar, Halu, Heart, Rama can really help cleanse not only your energy fields, your home. It breaks apart negative programs. It dissolves negative energy and information that is attached to programs and projections that I mentioned. Because magic in the end is also energy and information. While helping you have a more abundant flow of energy and helping you have a clearer connection to the universal life force energy. And I'm showing this because that's the main conductor, the crown chakra. You have symbols for cleansing the soul, like heart. Combine it with Seiheki and Shika Seiki from Usui Reiki. The effects are amazing when it comes to healing the soul and bringing back those fragments, those lost bits and pieces. And I have a video about the soul as well. So also for the inner self, you have the Tibetan Daikomyo. You have Kriya, which helps you ground yourself when drawing from the hips downward to your feet. It also helps manifest elements in your life. Take them from the spiritual level as they are as a concept and then manifest them in the physical plane. Of course, this is done in a certain way to some extent according to your own merits and rights and karmic debts that you have healed. So there's a lot to work. There is even a symbol for connecting to nature's elements, Yava, which is quite an addition to the Reiki practice. And that's not only connecting to them, but balancing out the elements, the water, fire, earth, wood, all those elements that help you, that exist within you, and you can balance out. It's earth, fire, wind, and water, sorry. There are 4 elements, but some practitioners say it's 5. That's why I had that in mind. So regardless, it's meant to balance out the elements within your body first and then connect to them, create a harmony with those elements so that you are in a continuous symbiotic relationships with the elements from an energetic and spiritual perspective. So things change quite a lot with Karuna Reiki. Again, not to mention the DNA healing levels from traumas, the energy and information of traumas that sits right there, not only in your energy fields, that really deep trauma from past lives or from this life that's stored at a cellular level and helps you, Karuna Reiki helps you dissolve those. So that's the difference, is the symbols that offer access to divine entities and to different manifestations of the universal life force energy. Is the techniques and methods that can be combined with systems like Usui Reiki. Again, this might not be a difference, but it's clearly an advantage, clearly a way of using Karuna Reiki in an even more potent way. And then there's the whole system itself with all its techniques and methods, even the shadow healing, which is great, which originally is not part of Usui Reiki. Sometimes I present it because I think it's a valuable really valuable method for healing, for deep healing and understanding yourself in all aspects. Because the shadow, just to make a parenthesis, obviously is not a bad thing. The shadow is represents the accumulation of frustrations, fears, unfulfilled needs or desires, thoughts that have not been expressed, ideas that have not been written down and taken into account in your life. So all those elements. And healing the shadow means gradually beginning to, tackle those elements that were unexpressed and start expressing them, start manifesting them, but in a harmonious manner, not in a brutally way that you just burst out and just show them off, because that would defeat the purpose of Reiki. So it's also up to you to understand the process and heal yourself and try to express those things that were not expressed at the time that needed expression. Why would you express those things that were not expressed then? Because now when a situation comes that you need to express yourself or to present your ideas, your opinions, or to fulfill your goals and desires, you take another action, a more determined one, not an aggressive one, but a firm one, and from a place of more harmony than being feisty or aggressive. So all those elements contribute to the healing process. Karuna Reiki goes deeper than Usui Reiki. That's my opinion and that's my experience with it. Now, just to make another parenthesis here, there are systems that are focused on ascension. When I say ascension, again, I mean connecting even further to the divine consciousness while you have dealt with other things like the mental and emotional healing process. You have dealt with the shadow self, you have integrated the light, you have accepted things within your life, but you are in the process at least of dealing with those elements that are not useful for you. So Karuna sits a bit in the middle of healing yourself, the way I said, and ascension. Sits right in the middle from my experience. That doesn't mean that you cannot reach huge peaks of evolution and consciousness with Karuna. Yes, you can. I'm just saying that understanding it, integrating it, can create a layout for you being ready to go to an even more evolved Reiki system or a more evolved practice. It doesn't have to be Reiki. It can be another beneficial spiritual practice. So that's a brief take from my side about Karuna Reiki, and I just wanted to, because I had a few students that were asking me about Karuna Reiki and the differences and how it can benefit from it. I do have an article on Karuna Reiki, and I do have articles on all the symbols from Karuna Reiki. They are for free on my website in the articles section on reikiscoop.com. Should you choose to want to learn more, by all means, you can check them out. With that being said, thank you for watching and for staying until the end. Consider giving a thumbs up, sharing, and subscribing so that other Reiki enthusiasts, practitioners, and teachers can find content such as this one. So until the next video, thank you for being here and blessings to you. Before you go, there's one last thing I want to share to support your Reiki journey. If you let Reiki slip into the background of your life and you're ready to bring it back, this message is for you. I know how it feels to return after a long absence and feel like you've forgotten how to connect. You go through the motions, but questions arise each time you seem to make progress. My solution was to go back to my Reiki teacher and regain my confidence and rhythm in group sessions. But when you don't have the luxury to spend time with like-minded individuals, motivation dries out. That's why I created the 21 Reiki Challenge, a free program where we practice Reiki together for 21 days. Over 2,000 Reiki enthusiasts took on the challenge to rebuild their habit and reconnect with universal life force energy. You don't have to bring Reiki back into your life all alone. Just click the link in the description below, sign up, and let's practice Reiki together. Join the 21 Reiki Challenge to return to Reiki with confidence and support.